Last time on Dungeons, Drive-Ins, and Dice.
The mission dossier details that there have been possible sightings of an invasive species on a Delta exploration station out on the edge of our territories.
I want a full enhancement suite. This could be a longer term mission. Jettisoning immediately.
Captain Marjorie is awaiting for your arrival as you folks pick up off the planet, and she greets you as you step off. She says, I appreciate you making the time to come out so quickly. This may not be the place for opening conversations. Would you like to accompany me to my office?
Because Captain Marjorie is not a lead, the question I'm going to go with is, what are your present intentions?
Her present intentions are to get you out of this room. There's a stack of boxes, and behind the boxes, there is a banner, and it's strung up, it's behind these boxes, and you swear that you see the edge of a door frame behind that banner.
Captain Marjorie, I hope that you appreciate the gravity of my presence on this station. What can you tell me about Agent Pevins?
Nothing has been particularly out of the ordinary. He's been in and out of labs. He's been poking around, as I assumed that he would. And all of a sudden, as of 13 hours ago, he snapped. Something happened, and Pevins just attacked some of the scientists, and then he stormed off out of the door and disappeared into the station. We've gone on a brief lockdown. Most non-essential personnel for the moment are locked in their rooms because we truly don't know where he went.
Were there any ties between this cook, Grubbins, and Agent Pevins?
Pevins was asking quite a lot of his questions about Cookie and her crew, but nothing seemed to come of that.
Do you know if Officer Rake is in his office?
So I can call him up here if you would like.
Do not inform him that I have arrived or that I am on my way to meet with him. He is a person of interest in my investigation, and should he be forewarned, there will be consequences through my agency.
And now we return to our adventure.
I think we're on mission now. So I think the next stop is Rake's office. We're going to head into Rake's office. No knock.
Yeah, he doesn't have a walled office like Marjorie does. Hers is the only walled office up here. His is he has a station at the big war table that has all their maps and missions up on it. He has the largest table in this area, and he does all his work here. A part of it, I guess it is just like a big desk, because you guys have talked to him at his desk before. But it's just loosely stationed out here in this command center.
All right, he's gonna sit down. Is Rake here?
No.
Or is he at lunch?
He's out at lunch in the markets.
All right, cool. We're gonna sit down at his desk, and we're gonna go through his shit. I don't know what would be the role that you would want as far as going through Rake's files and desk and everything. Would you want a spout lore, or a discern realities, or a defy danger intelligence, or what would be the best way for Cola to go through Rake's stuff while he's not around?
Okay, you can do it. What it feels like to me, I mean, defy danger would make sense as the catch-all if the others don't make sense. Discern realities, because those questions could come in handy. Clearance also feels like it could be the thing. It's basically, spout lore. You have access to his database. I'll agree it's locked out, but that could be you trying to log in, right? Like you making that roll.
Okay.
You trying to bypass the password wall.
Okay. I like clearance because that's at least a bonus to spout lore.
Yes.
I think I'll go with that. So that is a spout lore +2. That is a 10.
On a 10 plus, you gain information that may be classified.
And as far as spout lore goes, on a 10 plus, I will get something useful and interesting about the subject of your situation. Classified, useful, and interesting are the adjectives that you have been handed.
All right, there's a few pieces here. The first piece that comes to ease of finding, there's a file talking about ongoing projects on the ship, and it talks a lot about how resident doctor old lady Weathers has been working with Cookie Grubbins to cultivate a flora that can provide power to the station. Lots of these data points talk
I jot
about.
down Weathers. I really should be actually writing down these names because I already don't remember the names that I said that I was writing down.
Yeah, I'll do my best to remember them also. Beaker Boyd, Dr. Porpoise,
Beaker,
and Old Lady Weathers.
Okay, where can I write some stuff down?
Yes. So Cookie and Old Lady Weathers have been working on this fauna, or this flora to provide power to the station. It goes over lots of their like experience logs, how first they were melting and they needed to use some rust moss to soak up some of that heat, and that the most recent tests seem to be going well. And it says at the end of this file that the whole station has had power resupplied. Not much more information as to what that really means, but then you find another file deep hidden in there, the classified file. This one talks about how there was a explosion in the old science bay, their science bay that is now connected to their tech bay in a big warehouse convention style room, used to be below the ship bay. There was a massive bio explosion in that lab. They had brought a life form aboard the station. They were studying it, and whatever chemical that they had attempted to use in this experiment had reacted explosively. Many deaths for several years, 5-10 years, shut down 40% of the power in the station.
Quick question. Is this something that was reported back to us, to the agency?
No.
Is this
This is something, this
Okay,
is
this sets
huge.
off
This is a
some-
massive piece of information for you, because something like this happening, like already that is invasive species come in to check out this life form. It's caused damage to it, massive damage. They kept it for years. The amount of lives that could have been lost in during this, like this not only is a big hit for the invasive species committee, but also just for like the military in general. They should have been all over this, saving extra lives, fixing the station and whatnot, but they haven't been. And it's been kept a secret only by the higher ups in this station. Not many people on the station know about this.
Yeah, this sets off all sorts of alarm bells for Agent Cola. I'm trying to process how Cola would react to this. It's interesting because his preference would be to confront Rake about this in a private setting. Does his investigation reveal the location of Rake's residence?
I think that you're able to glean that information from this computer. You have access to the classified files. I don't think that his residence would be that deeply classified.
Okay.
They don't really hide anything from each other for the most part over here. They just, I guess, hide it from you guys.
Does the classified information say who the lead was? If there is a surviving lead on this life force investigation in this experiment?
Not only did they lose 40% of the access to the station for those amount of years, but anyone that was down there died.
Yeah, that tracks.
Huge amounts of loss. Yeah, huge lives lost.
So many alarm bells. Now I'm sad. I'm sad that I'm going to have to go on a mission next session and not continue to investigate this because I want to go on like
No. This is
Another. I
an
want to
arc.
go on more solo missions.
This is an intro to an arc. It won't be a solo missions, but this is an intro to a station arc. So we're not like leaving the station.
As a player, can I ask how many sessions you have planned as a station arc before we go on our next mission?
Me shaking my head no is not no. You can't ask. I don't. My thought would be 2 probably with the whole crew, so 2 more beyond this one. It just depends. Like you've already gotten all this information. If you just dive in and tackle all of it, maybe it makes sense that the crew does leave next episode. But I just don't really think that we're gonna be able to parse all of this on your own without the crew.
You've given me so much to investigate. There's like Gabe the player thought that he had 1 can of worms to open on arrival, and it feels like he has like 3.
I've been trying to figure out the best way to frame the amount of cans of worms that are opening.
Man,
this is huge and pivotal, so it really just depends on our actions in this if we even make it to the next arc. Like, things could massively change based on what goes down the station this time.
Here's the thing is that it's possible that this supersedes the investigation he was already on.
Totally possible, yeah.
Okay. Cola is probably relying on Cluster to discern some leads on like what has happened with Pevins and where Pevins may have gone and those sorts of leads. So I think what Cola's going to do is head to Rake's residence and wait there for him to come home from work. And I think when he arrives, he wants to discern realities in the residence before Rake gets home.
Okay.
That's the intention.
So let's rewind a bit. As you're leaving the bridge in HQ, Cluster hits you over the radio.
Hey boss, we're getting the container into place. I'll of course get the shop all set up for us. No, yeah, of course we'll be opening up our doors rather soon.
He shouts off into the distance, and he says,
"Is there anything you'd like me to be taking care of as I set up the shop? Anything specific you want me to look into around here?"
You best prepare for a long haul on this investigation. This goes way deeper than HQ assumed it would. I'm making you the primary on the Pevins investigation. I want you to take charge on investigating the activities and whereabouts of both Pevins and a recent Delta Dawn employee, a cook appropriately named Cookie Grubbins.
Pevins and Grubbins. I can look into that. You're sure you're okay giving me lead on the whole thing? This is your mission.
It is unorthodox, I know, but my initial investigation has revealed information that requires my direct attendance.
Oh yeah, boss. I'll look into them. I'll let you know when I find out when I have some files together for you to check out.
I will brief you on further details should they become relevant. All of this is above top classified. We are in a Code Navy situation.
No doubt, boss. We're just here to sell some records and carry these sweet vinyl tunes across the stars.
Your cover is no longer a priority. Your priority is intelligence gathering.
You hear him reclose up a box.
Maintain cover while on premises of your domicile, but otherwise, we are Code Navy, and intelligence gathering is now the priority.
Gotcha, boss. I'm on it.
And you find yourself, as the line hangs up outside of the door to Rake's living quarters. It is locked.
Would I have some sort of an override?
I mean, I think that you know how to do this. I think that it would probably be like a defy danger, intelligence, or wisdom. Because we've used less locks as like lock picking locks and more as like using the tech to open them, you know?
I don't have tech for that. I don't even have the ability for tech for that.
No, so that's why I'm
Um,
thinking just like a basic defy danger to use the tech that's there to try to open it.
all right. Then I'm going to, I guess, defy danger intelligence to try and get into there. That is a 10.
This lock is nothing for you. You've gotten through much harder locks, and the locks on this station are like paper clips. You just bend it open and the whole door slides open. You go in, it closes like normal. You don't bend and break anything. You just open it up. Inside is a pretty messy single living space. Smaller than you would expect for a second in command of the station. It's basically just like a bed, a couch, a TV, and a small kitchen area, all of which is pretty messy or cluttered.
Just one room.
Just one room. Slightly large, but
No other exit other than the one that I just came through.
mm-mm.
I then I'm going to discern realities on this, and then once I've done that, I think I'm going to station myself sort of next to the door so that when Rake enters, I can block the exit.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, so first off, the discern realities. That is a wisdom roll. I have +0 to wisdom. That is an 8.
Ask one question.
What should I be on the lookout for?
It's weird to you that this is a one bedroom or a one room living quarters. I don't think that you particularly examined the files of like the layouts of these places, but you skimmed them and you don't recall actually seeing any single room living quarters. You think that there should be another room off of this room, but upon this inspection, there's no doors, there's no halls, there's no nothing.
Mm-mm-mm. The thick plotting.
It gets plotter and plotter.
It really does. This is some. Oh man.
I will say though, with this, you get that thought, and I mean, your goal is waiting till Ray comes home from work. But as you're like peering around, you've been in here a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes. You're just like peeking under stuff. You actually hear some clicks and beeps outside the door. You can tell someone is putting in the passcode to enter the domicile.
I think I don't have any move prepped, but I do think that I'm going to use inquisitive eyes on them the moment that I'm going to use inquisitive eyes on him the moment he enters the room, and then we'll see what we get after that.
Are you just sort of standing on the other side of the room, staring at the door? Are you trying to like hide in the shadows and let him come in?
No, we're gonna hide in the shadows and let him come in. We want him in the room before we start doing whatever it is that we're gonna do here.
Okay, then I think it makes sense that you hide on the basically the other side of the door. And as Captain Rake, the door opens and Captain Rake enters in. He crosses the room. He has like a little doggy bag in his hands, and he goes to the fridge. He opens it up and throws the doggy bag in. He stretches a bit and he's like, "Oh, guess it's time back to work." And he turns around and he stops.
We're in the shadows, and we want to use inquisitive eyes before, like, as he's on his way to the fridge.
Right.
Inquisitive eyes. I think in this moment we're gonna ask, "What do you not want me to know?" And
As
because he hasn't. I'm gonna make a pitch, and feel free to just tell me I'm wrong. But I feel like, based on what you've told me about the way the room is laid out, the only thing that he could not want me to know, having not realized that I'm there yet, is where the rest of this room
I was
is.
100% trying to figure out how he could do that. And I think it's through. Okay, so there is a little bit of carpet in here that sets up over the living area, and then the kitchen area is that sort of vellum tile. There is a strip of carpet that goes in between the couch and the fridge right up to the wall. It makes sense that this is where the door would be. There just is nothing there to show that. There might even be like a little table there. He walks over and there is a painting on this wall that is just a little crooked, and he like carefully resets it back into place and then goes to the fridge. You get the sense that there's something here on this wall that he is protecting.
Okay, and then he turns, and I'm not hidden that, like, I'm not trying to hide in the shadows.
I imagine
like
that he turns around and stops because he sees you. It's like obvious that you're hidden there.
I sidestep when he goes to the painting or whatever, or the picture. I sidestep in front of the door.
His question to you is, what are your present intentions?
I see no reason not to answer this truthfully. I need to know what he knows. My intention is to find out what he knows. And I think now,
What are you doing in my domicile here, stranger? His hand is on his belt.
it's on his belt.
There is the handle of plasma axe.
Hard light.
A hard light axe. The handle of that rests on, we'll say, right under his hand. He's like basically debating on whether he should draw his weapon or not. Mostly because he doesn't know who you are. If there was literally, I think, anyone on the station in his domicile, he would not be responding with like possibly drawing a weapon. But he's never seen your face before.
I see no need for pleasantries here. You should have. I know you have been forewarned of my arrival, Officer Rake.
From the ISC? And he drops his sort of guard, or his sort of grip almost on the weapon, and he it's like, I knew you guys were coming. I just didn't know you'd get out here this fast. Whoa.
We have our ways.
I'm certain you do. Why here? Wouldn't this be better suited conversation for my office?
Cola has a light chuckle at the word office. Your desk is a bit too public of a space for the conversation I intend to have with you.
Okay.
What can you tell me? What time? Here's something that I probably would have found out, but I didn't ask. When was the when was this power outage? How long ago was this event?
I think the longest time frame I've given, which is the one I'll go for, is 10 years. So 10 years ago was when they lost the 40% of the power from the station.
Was Rake an officer at that point as well?
He might have been on this station. I don't know that he held his current seat.
Interesting. All right. What can you tell me of the disaster of 10 years ago?
Well, let's
And
go forward.
I'm just so you know, there's no like prepared action sort of mechanic in this system, but I am as prepared as I can be to use my Instabind.
Okay. Yeah.
Not yet.
Prepared to do that.
Yeah. What can you tell me of the disaster of 10 years ago? And why it wasn't reported to our agency?
That's a lot all at once. Disaster 10 years ago. There was the big explosion on the station down in the old science bay. Life form got out of control and expanded beyond anyone's expectations. It took out the old science bay and has sort of blocked up all of our attempts at entering that portion of the station. We haven't. And he's sort of just spilling. He's just like word vomiting. He's like, we haven't had access to our to any portion of that part of the station since then. Not the warp engines, not the living quarters down there. None of the old sciences. Nothing down there. Just haven't been able to access it since.
Time to use my lie detector, because I don't trust him one bit. And the mechanic for that is I roll plus intelligence. A lot of intelligence rolls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That definitely
And
fits
that is
the agent, I feel.
that's a 10. So it just works and it can go again.
He's telling the truth.
So
Nothing he has said so far is a lie. Will's even say that. I mean, that's just like offhand for you. That like beeps in your ear that you're telling the truth. That no other real note of that. It's like I was a crew member here at the time. Wet and wild.
what exactly was your position at the time?
A crew member. I was going out on the exploratory forces with my crew to.
And your role rate?
I was the combat officer.
And how did you receive your promotion to your current station?
Hard work. I've been working my way up since then.
Be specific.
Missions on missions on missions, successes on missions. Important, just I found this planet when it still had the metallic veins running through it. Before we got that, I discovered this planet and brought and pointed the whole Delta exploration station in this direction.
Mendable, I'm sure. Now, why wasn't our agency informed of these experiments on an unknown life form and the disasters it caused subsequently?
That one is a little bit out of my pay grade. That's not on my shoulders to be.
And yet the information was on your workstation.
Uh-huh. Not too many people can keep old Captain Rake from talking about his.
Sir, Rake.
Yes.
Let's dispense with the falsities, officer.
Oh, no, I was leader of my old crew. Captain is just what we've always gone for. Here on the Delta, I'm just known as the captain.
As you are well aware, I am not a member of the Delta.
Yes.
Let us speak plainly and honestly, and then we will get along without any need for unpleasantness.
Wasn't in my clearance to be able to tell you guys in the first place. Classified above my head.
By?
Not information wise. That would be the captain. That would be Captain Marjorie Vernon.
Right, we're gonna add Marjorie Vernon. We're gonna add Captain Marjorie to our list of leads.
I need to talk to you again.
Oh yeah, now we might show up in her residence.
I've been around the station for quite some time. Usually things like this we would report to you guys right away, but she locked it up tight. She locked it up fast.
Suspicious. I think then, since he's been, as far as I can tell, telling the truth and been forthright, the way to press further is going to be, okay, Cola pushes past Rake and removes the picture that he adjusted in his first entrance to the scene.
Yeah, you move it.
What's here?
Well, when you.
And how does Rake react to this? If Rake reacts negatively, we're probably going to insta-bind him.
You sort of have to move almost past him as you go to this wall, and he makes a start like he's going to try to stop you, but it seems sort of just like almost like muscle memory. When he remembers who you are in front of him, he stops himself, and as you click the
wise officer,
the painting on the wall to the side, the whole wall slides over and into itself and reveals another room a little smaller than this room. The size of living quarter you expected to see between these two rooms. This one is dim. It's dark in here. There are papers and maps and printouts just all over the wall. Almost like just an insane person's investigation. There's yarn going from point to point, pictures and various things all over the walls. It's a lot to take in as this door opens. He's like,
explain this now.
I've been doing my own sort of investigation into all this recently, maybe or recently over the past since it happened 10 years, trying to figure out why some of this has been swept under the rug. And you look around this room. There's a lot of strange shit in here. Maps of the station, maps of the ventilation cutting up and down through the station, ways to, it looks like there's paths on one to get from the, actually just like various points of the station, the food and O2 production, the markets, the command center, ways to get from anywhere on the station to down below it, through the ventilation, through walls of machines that are just there to be machines. There are pictures of these weird small life forms. It's a little grainy in the picture. It looks like security footage zoomed in almost, of these little 3-legged fleshy eye stalks that are caught just like in the edges around a corner. There's only one in the center, and it's the best focused image of it. The rest are little blobs off in the corner of photos. And it is carrying, with another produced arm out of its body, carrying this little mass, and this little mass is of a very opalescent blue stone that it just carries above its head as it is moving down the hallway. And
the purpose of your investigation, summarize.
There's the purpose of my investigation is to how to get down there and figure out what is going on. And he points to the life form in the picture. He's like, these things have been spotted on and off throughout the station. Not much more than that, just a blur out of our vision. This is literally the best representation we've had of them ever. And they move throughout the station. They take things here and there. They move things throughout the station, and they always seem to return. And he pulls out another sheet from under a stack of papers, and it shows you the docking bay. And in the docking bay, things look only a little different than they did when you were just there. And that difference is that those boxes and that banner are not there. And there is a door. But this door, I mean, it looks like it should just be a normal door, but there's this weird pink fleshy growth coming out of the center of the crack in the door, growing all over the door and looking like just basically blocking off this door. But, putting 2 and 2 together, you see how you could have stacked the boxes and the banners to hide pretty much all of this. It doesn't seem that it's grown more than in this picture, but that is what is blocking the door. And he's like, and they always return here, and they're able to just move through it. It seems to open for them. And I just want to get to the bottom of what these things are. I don't know if they're causing harm to my station. I don't know if they're causing harm to the people that we protect.
Why you've neglected to report this to our agency?
Again, that's sort of above my head. I owe everything to Captain Marjorie. She's my captain. Not much that I can really do to go over her head and not blow up my spot.
Greater to her species.
Well, that would be a large portion of why I'd like to continue this investigation as well. I trust Marjorie with my life. She's never shown any signs of being a traitor to her species, but I'd like to get to the bottom of that myself as well.
I intuit that you seem more useful without incapacitation. As proof of this,
I'm pretty useful.
What can you tell me about Jeremy Pevins and Cookie Grubbin?
Pevins, here for you guys, doing the investigation with the for an invasive species. He asked lots of questions about Cookie Grubbins, but his investigation seemed to turn up null. And by the time she left on her last mission, he had not another thought of her.
And you have no notion of the basis for his investigation into Cookie Grubbins?
Well, I mean, he's an invasive species agent, so I'd imagine that I have a notion of his purpose of his investigation. But I sort of just thought that the purpose of his investigation was coming to the Delta to look for an invasive species. I thought maybe there had been some word caught of these things, and he points at the creature on the wall again. I mean, mostly he seemed interested in Cookie. Then his investigation must have come to a close, because like I said, he just started becoming a part of station life. He started checking out a lot more into the tech bay and helping out some of our scientists there.
I'm gonna use my lie detector again because it seems important. That is a 9. So
Okay.
on a 9, I pick 1. The machine shorts and begins running erratically. Take -1 going forward until to use this machine until it is repaired.
Okay. Okay. No, I think he's telling the truth on this one.
Tricky, tricky indeed. Because when I was Cookie, it felt like Rake knew what was up, but I never for sure knew what Rake knew. All I
That
know
is
is that Rake,
interesting, because he did give you a warning, and why would he have
yeah,
given you a
he gave
warning?
Rake a heads up, or he gave Cookie a heads up about Heaven. Like he was the one who warned Cookie that Heavens was coming.
No, you're right. You're right. And that would have had to have been because he knew that Pevins was coming for Cookie. Otherwise, why would he be telling Cookie this situation?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So then I guess he is lying. Triggers that he's lying. Let me just figure out in what way he's lying. Because he knew Pevins was coming for Cookie. Well, no, I guess he still is telling the truth, because he knew Pevins was coming for Cookie, but Pevins came, Pevins did his thing, seemed focused on Cookie. From Rake's point of view, asked lots of questions on Cookie. Then Cookie left on her last mission, and he hasn't mentioned her one bit.
I guess that means I should have used my lie detector one question earlier.
On which question?
My first question regarding Pevins was the connection between Pevins and Cookie Grubbins.
Okay, and then I think I went into all that detail. Let's see if I could just find a way to narrate this into place. Pevins was here to investigate Cookie. That much was made clear by Pevins's report. It seems whatever he found caused him to stop that thought entirely. One day he was asking all sorts of leading questions the way that you are. The next day, he is speaking of his living quarters and missions that he can go on here on the station. And I've never seen an invasive species agent attempt to ingrain themselves in the culture like that. Usually you folks, you come in, you do your investigation, and you're out. Maybe you attempt to hide a little bit while you're here, but I've never seen the relaxation that he influenced that last day before he went a little off the rails. So not lying, but he gave you some more information, I guess. He barfed a little bit more.
Did I still expend that lie detector then?
No, you can take that back, because that wasn't really in the frame of lie detecting.
And you have no notion of his whereabouts since then? Do you have any notion of his last known location?
The last piece of information I got that he was running from the tech and science bay after causing damage to the doctors and assistants there.
In what direction?
He seemed to be heading towards the living quarters on the station, but none of the cameras showed him entering into that area. So we've locked it down. People have doors locked and are safe in their specific quarters, but he's just sort of missing on the station.
The list of leads. Heavens, living quarters. I have lots to do during the station arc, because it seems like this mission is mostly just going to be lead gathering, and then investigation will be it'll be interesting to see how much, because I have no reason to integrate myself with the crew yet. That's something that I've got to resolve now. I've got to resolve
We know that your character would want to be close with the crew once you find out about a further connection between Pevins and Cookie.
Yeah,
Then it would
Cookie
make
is a
sense that
person
you
of
would
interest,
tie
so it would make
yourself to the
sense.
crew. But until then, I
I
totally
think
agree.
actually then, yeah, I think actually you make an excellent point because like neither of us know that Cookie has died right now.
Correct. Yes.
So now I think you have proven yourself to be useful and informative.
That's what I do here.
I will give you one last chance to solidify that for us.
Aight? What can I do?
You are ordered to insert me into the crew containing Cookie Grubbins as the pilot. I will go on future missions with them in order to ascertain what her connection is with Jeremy Pevin on their next mission.
Yeah, okay. Do you have any sort of ways you want me to go about doing this? Because if I just sort of saddle up and throw an invasive species agent on the team, they're not going to be, I don't imagine, excited or particularly
Obviously,
open.
you do not introduce me as an invasive species agent. As my briefing suggests, their crew lacks a pilot.
That is,
And a capable pilot is necessary for a mission to an unknown, unexplored planet. If you were to send them to an unexplored planet, they would need a capable pilot, and that is a role that I can fulfill for them.
this is
Using that cover, insert me into their crew so that I may observe them firsthand.
fair.
Do not give any indication that I have any ulterior motive beyond the interest in piloting to an unknown location. I will pose as a pilot using my same name with an interest in exploring the unknown and interacting with cultures that are not my own.
It would be sort of part of our investigation that upon their return, we definitely have plans on investigating Cookie Grubbins and her connection to Jeremy Pevins. But that's really the best lead that we got, is that he was investigating her. Then she left, and then he went crazy. It's sort of a loose lead, but it's the best that we got right now. So when she comes back, we planned on pulling her in for an interrogation, her and the crew, just to provide them with their safety cards, make sure all's well there. Is there anything you'd like us to leave out besides, of course, your involvement? How would you like us to handle this investigation?
The investigation can proceed as planned. I will not make myself present for the investigation itself. I will simply observe from a separate room.
Okay, yeah.
You will not report to Captain Marjorie Vernon of this encounter. She is now considered a person of interest in my investigation and should be treated as such. If your assumption of loyalty and usefulness is to continue, you will not inform her that we have had this conversation. Do I make myself clear?
So you do to me, the DM. You also, though, have this.
I don't think I've taken the arm. I haven't taken the arm of the agency move.
No, but you have knowledge is power.
Oh, okay. I don't know that quite.
I don't think it does. Yeah, I don't think it does.
I don't think Rick is my comrade.
No.
Unless
You're right.
his proof of trustworthiness makes him one, but I don't think it does.
No,
I think it just makes him
position
not
of
a person
authority was
interest.
definitely, I think, the the one I was thinking of.
Arm of the agency, I think, would be the most relevant to this moment, but I haven't taken that, which is now that I've decided to play the character this way, during this mission, this introductory mission, I'm playing him gloves off. I'm trying to still sort of, in my brain, put together his cover. I'm trying to sort of, my idea is that he's going to be, the only thing that I've thought about for his cover is that he loves his mom, and that he calls his mom every night, and that's his cover for
Oh, that's a
reporting
cover.
back to the. That's his cover for reporting back to the agency, is that he loves his mom and that he reports back to her every night, or like he calls her every night to tell her about his adventures. Um, I don't know much else beyond that, but that's what I've got. But right now, we're not undercover. We are the arm of the agency without having that move. We are just role playing
Parlay then.
as much menace as we've got. Parlay is a charisma roll. That's a 7. And so
He will do what you ask, but first you need to promise him.
some concrete assurance of your promise right now.
When you say all that, he says, I'm fine, but you're not gonna hurt Captain Marjorie, are you?
Is that relevant?
She may know more than she's let on, but she's good at heart. She's not a bad person. If you want my help in any of this, you have to ensure me that is, of course, as long as she's not like an invasive species hiding among us, that she's gonna be okay.
I will not eliminate her. I believe that she can be of more use to us cooperatively than coercively.
As long as you assure her safety, I will lend what aid I can to help you get to the bottom of this.
I will assure you her survival as well as your own.
That
is all that I can promise as a representative of my agency.
Well, I know you guys can do a lot worse than.
Given the deception that she has already proven.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if that
fair.
fulfills the parlay. Like, that's just what he would say. If that doesn't mean that he's gonna like fly with this, that's fine.
Sure.
I think that's what he would say.
Yep. Captain Rake nods, and yeah, are you done here in Rake's area?
Before I leave, I would like to discern realities on his secret room.
Okay.
Because I haven't done that yet. I should have done that when I opened that before I interrogated him. But I just discern realities is a wisdom, so I just rolled a 6. So instead, I will take my second experience point.
The only
hard
thing
move me.
that sticks with you is that image of the creature on the wall. The way something about it feels off for you. That like triggers your fight response, right? You have a flight or fight. You don't really have a flight response, I'd imagine. You're sort of gung-ho into the fight.
I'm fight only.
But this triggers your fight response in a way that like only coming up against like invasive species has done. And you can't really like put a finger to that. It's not like you're getting a sense of this thing's personality from seeing it, but you have no idea of what class of species this thing could belong to. And without that knowledge, like you're pretty set in stone that there is an invasive species on this ship.
Cola turns to go and then turns back and says, and points to the opalescent stone that is being carried by the one that is that is in the picture, and is and he touches it. And he's like, "What can you tell me about this?"
Oh, I don't know. A crew brought that back from a mission. They had gone to one of the Aquans, one of the Aquan planets to help with a local problem, and were given an extra reward. This the Sea Stone, Heart of the Sea, it's called locally. They had plans to study it, maybe use it in some specific, sort of nature tech, but they lost it. They couldn't find it. And this is the only frame we even have in the security footage of what happened to it.
I suppose I don't have classified. I wouldn't, because I don't have the advanced move, the the database. I don't have the database move.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna spout lore anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Just on this aqua stone.
Mm-hmm.
That's an 8.
An 8.
Interesting, not useful.
You've heard of the Heart of the Sea from these Aquan planets. There's like a list of 10 water-based planets that orbit a star of their own, and there's lots of minerals on these planets that are only found on these 10 planets in your entire system. I mean, Heart of the Sea is one of them. It is extremely rare mineral, really good use in the Aquan priests often tie Heart of the Sea to sort of clairvoyant powers. That's just sort of lore, like rumor, basically. It's nothing. I don't think that it's nothing that you've ever needed to come up in front of in any of your missions. You've not gone to Aquans, you've not touched Heart of the Sea or really had any experience with it, but you've heard those stories.
All right.
Anything else in this room?
I don't think so at this point. I think Cola says, I appreciate your cooperation. I expect that we will have more of these conversations in the future. I expect the same level of cooperation then.
Oh, of course, of course. Whatever I can do to help. I want the people on this station to be safe.
As do I. The safety of the people of this situation is tantamount. You will be hearing from me. And Cola leaves.
Great. Cola leaves, and you get a buzzer, little ringer in your ear. It's Cluster.
Hey boss, I found some security footage from nearby. Looks like they have a local nightclub. Sort of button up to. Looking at the schematics, it's kind of same area that the living quarters button up to that quartered off portion of the station. The security camera footage picked up Pevins clearing through the sheeting and back into that area of the station, the sort of uninhabited portion. If we're looking for a spot on Pevins, I'd say he's back in there.
Good work, Cluster. I will investigate that imminently. Continue to ingratiate yourself within society. I will brief you on the continued details of this mission as they develop.
Perfect. And I'll let you know if I find anything else, boss.
And the line clicks.
I think that sort of feels like a good spot to end it. I think I have a lot of leads to pursue over station time.
Yes. The crew will be returning to the station in about a week from your time being on the station.
All right.
Because Cookie died, and then the next day.
So there's 5-ish days before they get back.
Yes. And next time we come back, we're all together. There's all of us here. So it doesn't make sense to do an hour and a half of finishing up this time and then, playing with them. So my thought would be think about what Cola does in these last 5 days, the approach Cola takes to this thing, and when we start, I'll probably start with like, how did Cola spend the rest of that week in what kind of focus areas, and then we'll dive into the crew returning. I feel like fits the most.
I think then what I imagine it's going to be is interviews of the non-essential to my notion personnel on his list of, and that's written down on my character sheet, on his list of leads. So it's basically, let's just quick swap over and have a look. I think the only people I think the leads on here that I would want to do narratively would be Old Lady Weathers, Captain Marjorie, and Heaven's living quarters. So I think in the interim, he's probably investigating Dr. Porpoise, Beaker Boyd, and everything to do with what Pevins was looking into before his episode.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, and then after those 5 days, you'll move on to the portion of your investigation that is the other 3 people that you actually want to do in person, right? That way we can do that. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I like that. So then we will leave off as you exit Captain Rake's domicile and head towards the area that what's his name mentioned?
Cluster?
Fucking Cluster, yeah. So bad with names. Which we can also touch base on, or we can explore as a crew when we have everyone, and you can like lead them back there. If you guys explore together. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm very interested to see how the crew responds and sort of what goes down. But session and questions, important for you. I would mark 1 experience because you got your alignment. You did do that, and I always forget alignment. So if I don't do it now, I will forget. Mark 1 experience because you did your alignment once.
Understood.
Whatever we talked about with Cluster, we definitely didn't do, right? Whatever that bond was. So that bond is fine.
Yep.
All right. So questions. Did you discover something new or important about the world?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Did you beat any notable enemies or treasure?
No and no.
Nope. All right. So 1 extra experience then from those end of session questions, and another 1 for your alignment. And
that's 4 total.
When we come back, make sure that we have a Cluster Jorgen bond. And if possible, it might make sense to have another bond from someone that we've spoken to on the station or that you are investigating. It doesn't have to be someone we've spoken to out loud. You could have made a.
It's gonna be Cat Marjorie. I haven't quite discerned what the wording of that is yet, but the bond is with Marjorie.
Okay,
she is the prime suspect now.
Fantastic. Okay, cool. When we come back, we'll touch base on that like week of investigation for you and kind of what that sits as the crew returns, and then we can actually get into the investigation portion of it.
Wild, because I definitely thought that Cookie was going to be the prime focus of this investigation, and she no longer is. She's now the secondary focus of this investigation.
Who's the prime focus?
It's Captain Marjorie and this flagrant violation of ISC code.
Yeah, it's a huge one. A hurdle I've been attempting to tackle since we began this campaign.
Well, I'm glad I've given you the vehicle to do so.
Yeah, this is all good stuff.